Okay, great. So I'm Whitney Ortiz. I am a certified stress relief, self-empowerment, and well-being coach and mentor, especially with and for women, women leaders, mothers, women leaders at home, women leaders in the workplace, many of whom have been going through, as you can probably attest directly, a lot of transition. And it is a time of being a new mom or about to become a new mom where there's just a lot going on. And so I help women move from basically an experience of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm into a greater state of well being, inner peace, a sense of fulfillment and interconnection that they may never have had before, and certainly in this time of heightened stress
Treasure moves.
situations. Karen, thank you
Yeah.
for joining. I was just beginning, Karen, to kind of go into an introduction and just explaining that here together in community, we are really co creating a container, as I like to think of it, that's going to be calming, and into which I'll drop some tools and tips, techniques that hopefully you can then carry with you after this class and apply into your daily routines. So I'll provide some of the content and share, and then at the end we'll do questions. And I'm happy to answer them either through the chat or verbally. We can have a conversation. And then Carolyn and Carrie just got some paper and pen. If you have any available, that would be great, as we'll do an interactive exercise at one point. Each will be individual, and just to be able to take notes on what's coming to you. So Karen, if you have a minute to get that or have that easily accessible, that would be great. So to get back into the introduction here, I wanted to share that I founded Whole Health Self-Care as a global platform through which women access this transformational kind of coaching and mentorship, as well as additional expertise through a whole health series, which is a podcast and an online forum I organize regularly. And I also have co-created with a group of other women who are specialists in various areas of whole health, a co-referral network to be able to provide wraparound holistic support to women in different areas of whole health, which we will get into. Additionally, I'm the founder of a regional nonprofit called Eliana's Light, through which we support local families, DC, Maryland, and Virginia families that include children who have medical complexity. And we focus on their whole health and well-being, the whole health of each individual member of the family and the family as a whole. I'm also the mother of two daughters who were born 9 years ago, the wife of my husband, Orlando, now puppy mom, cousin, sister, daughter, various other roles. And we'll talk about how roles connect to identity and the kind of identity that we can really consider for ourselves at this point, and where each of you are as moms and in the newer phases of about to have your baby. So we can get into that in a brief moment. I became a certified coach about 11 years ago after experiencing a lot of stress through the different roles I had within my professional life, and always being more of a type A personality, creating even more stress by the types of initiatives that I would go into and overstretch myself, etc. And so after directly experiencing some health challenges myself and with direct family members, I really got to see firsthand the importance of taking a whole health approach and focusing on our well-being at the same time to be able to go forth with greater strength and capacity and quality of life. And really, quality of life being a thing that isn't often really talked about so much and yet holds so much importance and value for us. So let's get into what we will cover by way of content. We're going to be talking about creating and maintaining an energetic emotional bond with your baby. Really like what that means. Prioritizing your whole health and well-being within this new identity, which we'll talk about. Building and using your self-care toolbox and how we each are unique individuals. So certain things will work well for certain people and other things for other people, and really recognizing that and going forth in that space. So I'll sprinkle throughout the presentation some of these tools and tips for you to consider adding to your self-care toolbox. So getting into now the creation and maintenance of an energetic emotional bond with your baby. You see, I dropped in the word energetic as opposed to just thinking about the emotional bond, which is often brought up. It's in this general understanding through this container that we are all made of energy. This is a scientifically proven fact, and to really get to that sense of understanding when it comes to establishing an emotional bond. And this is before and after the baby is born. This is because of the fact that a baby can really sense everything. So you may already know this instinctually, but I put out some of these points from research that really drives this home. The first is the prenatal attachment. And here as it says, and I'll read even more through the statement, it can be described as the parent's emotions, perceptions, and behaviors that are related to the fetus. This relationship has been described as the most basic form of the human intimacy and represents the earlier internalized representation of the fetus that both parents typically acquire and elaborate during pregnancy. The quality of the relationship between an infant and his or her parent is an important factor influencing the child's later development, both cognitive and emotional. So building this bond, really starting from when the baby is in the womb, is also important for preventing depression among new mothers. And this is the theory of the maternal-fetal attachment. According to recent research findings, the maternal-fetal attachment is one of the factors contributing to postpartum depression. So greater emphasis should be placed on the preparation of pregnant women for accepting their maternal role, so that the maternal-neonatal relationship can be enhanced and postpartum depression thus reduced. Also, researchers believe that the formation and continuation of emotional attachment between a mother and her child have a profound effect on the child's mental development and behavior in the coming years of life. Sensitive and responsive maternal behaviors result in the safe and healthy development of a child and foster a positive and mutual interaction between a mother and her child. So getting into some practical, here are some 4 simple ways that you can build and maintain an energetic emotional bond with your baby. The first is to mindfully manage the energy that you are creating and giving out. So if you say certain words, but the energy that you're creating and communicating is something entirely different, your baby will sense that. And the baby will listen into more the energetic communication and the emotional communication than the words, right? And so, for example, if you're changing your baby's diaper and your baby does not like it, then it's one thing to say the words, okay, sweetie, we just got to get through this diaper change. Like, okay, oh my gosh, like just okay, it's okay. Like, just let's get on with this. Almost done, right? Such a different emotional thing than saying, like, okay, it's okay, almost done. Just a few more minutes. You've got this. Okay. So it's clearly the same words, like we know this, the way that it's communicated so matters. And in a moment when your baby has been crying and crying and crying, sometimes it is hard to kind of center back in and be able to say it with the emotional and the energetic connection, the words that you will be naturally saying, more and more. I found myself quite often just talking, wanting to soothe, and it took a lot of the intentional focus in and trainings to be able to get to the point of like, okay, shift. Really focus on that energetic exchange. So it's thus knowing that you're always communicating, even without words, of course, and to stay very mindfully in that awareness, that self-awareness that can build a trusting and deep emotional relationship. So the second here is to practice kangaroo care. Is this a term that you're all already familiar with?
Hmm.
Yeah. And so, thankfully, because of a lot more research that has been done on this around the world, it's becoming more and more accepted within NICUs and maternity wards, whereas before it still really wasn't. And this is very, very recent. So, here's a quote from a recent piece of research that came out within the last couple of years from a NICU doctor in Children's National Hospital. She says, her name is Dr. Natalia Isaso. We already know there are psychological benefits in the newborns when they're held skin to skin. Now we have more evidence that skin to skin contact can also decrease parental stress that can interfere with bonding, health, and emotional wellness, and the interpersonal relations of parents, as well as breastfeeding rates. So there is thus more and more confirmation from the science, from the research that then speaks to the doctors and the nurses say, okay, this is valid, it's worth giving more and more time, including when babies are in the NICU. Number 3 is to create a unique melody, song, or rhythmic hum for your baby that is from uniquely you and that will give comfort and that you can go to over time. So what I mean by this is that it is to be a rhythmic, repeatable phrase that incorporates calming breathing, which is for you especially. So for example, like when your baby has to get a vaccine or gets injured or otherwise needs to be comforted, you can bring in a statement into the moment that's very short, has its own rhythm or vibration, and is a very simple phrase. So, for example, the simple phrase of, it's okay. So, if you say it in a very rhythmic way that is in your tone, your voice, your vibration, then it becomes yours. So, this is one that I always used when it would be like, it's okay. Breathing in, it's okay. So the inhale and the exhale are incorporated because you may need to also calm yourself while you are trying to give comfort and calm to your baby. So coming up with a phrase, if you haven't already, and I invite any one of you to share if you have already done this, if there's a phrase that has really spoken to you, and this might have come out even very naturally. Do either of you already have one?
Yeah, it's funny. This is Carrie. My parents were walking around with my son like about a month after he was born, and I can't remember which one, and they were going, ah, ah, and it never occurred to me, but it calmed him down immediately. So I just kind of chant that over and over again, and it's like magic.
Nice. Yes, it is like magic. And it is that thing that you can always have, right? It can go on for years and years. And I'd like to think even into like the teenage years, right? It's certainly working well at the 9-year-old level when you never know, but it's just like a thing that is between you and your baby and your own unique voice. Well, your parents also use it, but it's like going to be so uniquely you still, no matter what.
Hmm.
Oh, that's great. And obviously, it's a very short, very succinct, repeatable with a rhythm and can involve your breathing too. So, then number 4 is to use basic and gentle infant massage. So, while there are classes, of course, that you can take in infant massage, basically, it's the power of touch again. And whenever you're going throughout your day and just taking a mindful moment of doing light touch, light massage in the hands and the feet and the back, doing some eye contact periodically, that can be that reconnection moment and really have a powerful impact on your baby. And if you wanted to get into that even in more depth, I'm happy to share a couple of practitioners in our region here in DC who can give classes on that. So I'm happy to connect you with that. So now let's move into supporting you and really prioritizing your whole health and well-being within a new identity that is forming and that we'll talk about in a very intentional way now, thinking about it in a perhaps different way due to the very specific nature of this moment that we share right now. So right now we want to think about the word identity to go beyond roles. So it's not really attached to any one thing, and it's beyond saying, now I'm a mom. It's more identifying with a way of being that you can then carry forward and connect into different behaviors and habits and thoughts and just ways of being. So it's a powerful time to really create this empowering vision statement, this whole idea of who you are and who you want to be. And this will help to navigate the emotional highs, the lows, and even the medium parts that you'll experience during your time as a mom. So as part of this, we really have to put on this growth mindset. And while you already may be familiar with the term, I just want to highlight that it is that you're open to learning, receiving input and feedback. And then if you make a mistake, it's not I'm a failure, it's I'm going to apply what I just learned from this to the future, and I'm always able to learn new skills and improve. So we're going to be doing a couple of exercises here, having on this growth mindset and considering and contemplating ways of being right now. We're going to start with a breathing technique to even more center here in this moment and give you a moment of deeper relaxation. We'll do the boxed breathing approach, which is a way to really focus the mind on the breath, and you may be familiar with it. It is a square count of 4, and I'll guide you through it. We'll do 3 rounds. So when you have an inhale, I'll be counting 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. And then repeat. So you're going to be focusing on me saying the counts while you're centering in, and you can close your eyes at that point when we do it. And maintaining your piece of paper and your pen near you, because we'll go right into a visioning exercise right after that. So let's begin. So please close your eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths just to center. Feel the chair under you supporting you. And we will begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. And now just fill up with air and release. With your hands held down. And just now on your own, in your own pace, breathe rhythmically. So as you remain in now a slightly deeper state of relaxation, I'm going to ask you a question and have your pen handy. I'm going to ask the question of you twice. You can also repeat it into your own mind, and then write down whatever comes after listening in to your inner wisdom, to whatever comes out. So here's the question. What feelings do I most want to feel as a mom? Here it is again. What feelings do I most want to feel as a mom? Allow allow for just a couple more if any come out. Now, this may be a very deeply personal exercise, but if either of you feel like sharing, which could be an inspiration to the other, feel free. Otherwise, just hold these words on the piece of paper. Now I invite you. Oh, Carrie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the main thing that came to my mind was secure, just that, you know, I'm not just that I'm in a safe environment, I'm providing a safe environment, and I feel like also secure in the decisions I'm making, and making my son feel secure in return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a powerful word. As
I had
mentioned.
something pretty similar to you, Carrie. I had capable, which seems like it would match well with yours.
Mm-hmm. And some others have come with like confident, which is obviously connected. And with that, having clarity to know the difference and to making decisions quickly. All of these are great words. Whatever is the thing that speaks most to you, and it might be multiple words. And after this, you could do your own exercise and doing it again. Because from here, we're going to go into forming a kind of identity, which is like a vision of yourself and how you want to feel, how you truly want to be at this stage of your life. And so now I invite you to take the words and any other word that might come to you now and to write a powerful statement that's in the present tense that includes your feelings that you most want to have, includes the I am statement, and it includes your why too. And this will become a very short new identity statement. And your subsequent thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, and habits are to stem from the statement. And your emotions will indicate whether or not you are in alignment with it. So if you're feeling happy and fulfilled and really great, then you know that you're in alignment with the statement that you most want for yourself. And if you're feeling anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, you know that you are out of alignment and can make some adjustments and take some actions to get back into alignment. So while we often now can talk about just self-care in general, right? And we think about it and it has different meanings for ourselves. But this is the part also about thinking of that self-care toolkit for when we get out of alignment with a statement, the thing that we most want for ourselves, what can we go to help us get back in to alignment? So let's now just pause and take a moment to write that statement. And again, it is in the present tense using the I am statement. It's a vision of the identity based on how you want to feel, how you want to be. So I'll be quiet now. And as you're finishing up, I'll just share an example. Didn't want to do this beforehand to skew, but just to see if this is kind of what you've been thinking. So like, I am strong, healthy, and confident, so I can lovingly express my care and manage my to-do list with ease. So you can pull out from there the words that would have come from the prior brainstorming and then into a power statement. From there, behaviors and thoughts would come to be able to thus express that as a way of being. And you can continue to work on that, and even after this session tonight, elaborate on it to make it even broader and incorporate more detail. But just for now, to be able to leave with the statement can be helpful for moving forward. And when you are considering making a larger statement, a larger vision for yourself, is really, I recommend looking at it through a whole health lens. And now we're going to get into what do I mean by that? And you may already be familiar with all of the different areas, and these are sliced and diced and shared in different ways. But these are the primary ones that I focus on in my practice. It is nutrition, movement, connection to community, financial health and well-being, expression of one's positive purpose, quality sleep, relationships at home, work, spirituality, whatever that means for you, mindset, and stress relief. And so, like the why again, beyond the relationship with your baby, and to have that emotional connection. But if one of these areas, because we are interconnected, interdependent whole beings, right? If one area is pulled down, it pulls down the others and negatively affects the whole, as a result. And so now that you are like the captain of a ship, being the mom, you can really consider the role, the identity that often comes with. So the captain needs to be able to operate at this capacity, right? At this full physical, mental, emotional, financial, and spiritual capacity, while maintaining the calm clarity and confidence in order to navigate the rough seas and the calm waters, and also to serve as a mentor and a guide to the other crew members. So as I said, it's not enough to just focus in on one area to say, I want to up-level my nutrition, to the detriment of other areas like stress relief or relationships. And so thus we need to look at the scope of the whole and then laser in on up-leveling areas that need more attention or nourishment. And then those can serve as levers to the others. So even think of the woman in the picture, the captain here, moving the levers. So it takes sometimes that positive intention in each of these areas. And we can nurture and heal our mind and our body through our thoughts, our behaviors, our habits, social learning, mind-body practices. And if we have time at the end, I can go into detail in each one of those areas, but I'm going to just narrow in on stress relief for a few more minutes. So it's focusing here on relieving stress across the board in our whole health. And we all know the mental and physical symptoms of being stressed, right? It's being irritable or agitated, easily provoked, having headaches, trouble sleeping. And when we are intensely stressed, you might have heard of it being called as being in the fight, flight, or freeze state. And this means that our nervous system, which is comprised of 100 billion nerve cells, is really preparing to face a threat that our body perceives to be real, our brain perceives to be real, whether or not it is in actuality a threat to our survival. And in today's modern world, there are so many more stresses on us than, from long ago. And so our bodies and minds are often struggling to get back to what is our baseline after we've been stressed, and it's so repeated. So many people in our culture, as you know, live in chronic or toxic stress. And it's all based on how you're perceiving, responding to, and are reacting to circumstances. So when our sympathetic nervous system is activated, our body releases adrenaline and cortisol, and increases often happen in our heart rate, our blood pressure, adrenaline, oxygen circulation to our vital organs, the availability of fuel for our muscles, etc. And decreases often happen to our fuel storage, our insulin activity, digestion, our immune response, relational ability, and other things. So I'm highlighting here on the slide the vagus nerve. And as you may already know, this is a nerve that begins at the base of this brain and literally wanders, as vagus is the Latin word for to wander, through the body and impacting various organs. It's responsible for decreasing the stress response and helping our bodies go back to baseline through the parasympathetic nervous system. It controls all of our involuntary bodily movements, such as breathing, speech, swallowing, heartbeat, hearing, blood pressure, taste, circulation, digestion, gut health, fertility, bladder health, among so many other things. It's amazing. And it also helps us access the part of our brain that's responsible for creativity, complex decision making, leadership, and higher cognition. So it's important to keep your vagus nerve in really good health because of this crucial role that it plays. And I know that I never learned about the vagus nerve in school. It was only within the past 11 years of doing a lot of deep, intense research where it's becoming now more of a mainstream term too. So what causes the vagus nerve to become unhealthy? We know it's stress, anxiety, and lifestyle choices. So drinking, eating, smoking, drugs, etc. So as you support your whole health through improving your nutrition, your movement, your stress relief, etc., you're going to be supporting the health of your vagus nerve and thus supporting yourself as a whole to be in greater ease and not in dis-ease. So this again highlights the interconnection of everything within us. And it can be, really challenging to do this kind of work alone and supporting your well-being while you're trying to support so many others. And as a mom, that will be, for a long time. And so to shift the mindset, to really be able to find ways to incorporate self-care into your daily routine and to have accountability to be able to move forward on certain goals that you have, it can be really easy to get out of alignment with that vision and that identity that you've created for yourself. So now I want to move into my first special offer for you for having participated here tonight, and really want to acknowledge that it takes a lot to be able to carve out time. And I get that, and I really appreciate your being here and listening. And for yourself to really prioritize this moment and this connection with your child. And so if you ever do want, as time goes on or even in the weeks to come, a free coaching session, I am more than happy to connect with you and to give that time for you. And in this free call, we can talk about your current circumstances, perhaps your vision statement, the identity that you want to hold for yourself, and provide some ideas and reflections on tips and tools and techniques that relate to stress relief that can be helpful to you in really building that self-care toolbox. So I have here on the slide my contact information, and feel free to email me a few days and times that work well for you at whitney@wholehealthselfcare.com, or connect into my calendar through the Calendly link that's here. And I'll talk about this calm clarity in a moment too. First, I wanted to share with you another special offer for tonight that gets into the need to really commit to our well-being. And as I mentioned, it does take sometimes very conscious, deliberate intention, reminders to yourself of your vision, and then really embodying and moving into this identity that you truly want to have for yourself, and by extension, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your work, because of the ripple effect that it has. Really making some tweaks and behavioral changes, thought patterns, creating new habits, making that go-to self-care toolkit, perhaps in a way that hasn't been there before. Feeling that you are a priority and knowing your self-worth. And to have a guide sometimes and an accountability partner who can be there with you and hold the space with you and the vision with you, believing in you. So therefore, I thought to give you all, for having registered, a discount on the one-on-one 6-week coaching that I offer. And that is very in-depth and personalized, has a transformational approach. And I do it still virtually because of the pandemic, organizing through calls, and I'll go into what it offers. This is 6 calls of 1 hour each over the course of 6 weeks. An unlimited amount of texts and emails between the calls. Things come up, you're in a hard moment, to help move through, to help you with. Also personalized workbook, worksheets, guided meditations, mindfulness exercises, affirmation cards, and also other recommendations, and if it is in your interest and need. So where the overall, outcome is feeling better and having that greater capacity to be able to do everything you need to do and in the way that you truly want to be, showing up really in the way you truly want to be. So I just share here for a quick glance some quotes from recent and current client too, in case that is helpful. And then the third special offer for you, before we can get into questions, I want to share that I posted a free checklist to support your development of confidence and this calm clarity for the decision making that you have to do regularly every moment, and to be able to really go through each area of your whole health to check in, say every day even, okay, how am I doing here? So it comes with prompts, and it's something that's very quick because not many of us have much time. So it's just a quick tool that you can get for free just by going to this website, thewholehealthselfcare.com/get-calm-clarity. So now I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have, either about the programs or the offers or just about the content in general, or we can get into any of the other areas of your whole health. Do any of you have any questions? Was there anything new, for example, that might have stood out or that you'd like to consider applying into your new daily routines?
I think the checklist is interesting, and I just want to go check it out because I haven't looked at it yet, of course. But just kind of trying to think about it in that organized way. Like I know kind of in my head what I do with my son every single day, but kind of, reflecting on reflecting on it in a way where I'm kind of organizing my, I don't know, if it's not focused on my routine, but maybe just the way I interpret it and how it makes me feel or things like that. I definitely want to kind of look at it from that higher lens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the thought of you saying it with the lens, because that's the analogy I use in terms of looking at it through this whole, looking at your well-being and your health in that whole health perspective with that lens on. And where it is a very quick overview, which you can even like post on a cabinet, and you're seeing it, you're minding yourself, okay, really, how am I doing in this? Like I'm feeling really low, I'm feeling stressed. Okay, maybe I just need to call a friend, or I need to just like take 5 minutes and do this breath work that really works. And it's even thinking about how you fuel yourself. Like, am I drinking enough water? Am I eating enough of whatever the protein is that I need? It's literally a visual that you can use and you can edit and you can go into. And so, yes, I hope it's helpful to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I'm in that stage too. With my son being 4 months, I can kind of think of it in that way. I felt like I was kind of running, just sprinting, and now I feel like I can kind of think through these things more. Not to scare you, Carolyn, but it went really fast.
I was just going to say, I have a feeling it will be a blur. It might be good to have something like a checklist to just remember all the pieces that contribute to your overall health and well-being. I think that will be really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Well, I welcome any feedback. If you have any questions about it, once you get it, please feel free to let me know. And then again, just a quick email. We can even have a quick call. And I'm just really thinking of you and supporting you all at this moment, and hoping that in the chaos and in the blur of it in many moments, like you really can center into yourself and know that there are very short, small, little things each day. It means even just looking at a leaf on a tree and how it moves in the breeze and the light shining on it, or having a candle and just watching the flame and the smoke. Things that take just a couple minutes to like say, okay, I just need to recenter and look, and then you can show up into the next moment with a bit more relaxed, energetic, expression of good emotions for those around you.
Yeah, definitely. That's funny. My moment of calm when in the first few months was washing bottles and looking out the window and watching the birds. So
Yes. Yes, and it's whatever it is that really works for you, right? So if some people are very visual learners, then something very visual like looking at the birds. And of course, it's the stacking too, right? You're doing the dishes, so you stack on it this opportunity to have a stress relief moment or a mindful moment. So stacking is a technique. And where it feels otherwise like, oh, I don't have time to meditate or even get exercise or call a friend, right? It's like, okay, how can I stack in what I'm already doing or what I already have to do with something that's going to be nourishing for me? And so if you're more of an auditory learner, then maybe it's putting on soothing sounds of nature through an app or classical music if that's something that really resonates with you. Whatever it is that really acknowledges who you are as a being can be part of that creation of the self-care toolkit that works for you. If you all don't have any more questions, we can pause and close with just a deep inhale and an exhale to kind of dissolve this container. And I hope that some of these tips and techniques are helpful for you and that you go forth with this empowering statement in which you can be in alignment to come for the times to come. So I wish you and your families all the very best. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
yes, thank you so much, Whitney.
Yes,
Take
thank
care.
you. Have a good one.